All right, good morning. How are we all doing, guys? We're signing in for a little bit of pistol squat action. It's not a Jedward tribute act, although we are heading in that direction. I think maybe if lockdown continues and need a little bit of a side hustle, I might think about that. Get Jacko to do the same little haircut. All right, guys. So I've got a little bit of a session planned for us this morning. We're going to go pistol squats, a little bit of lower body stuff, so a bit more a tutorial style rather than a workout. And I'm just going to show you a few different things that you can do with your pistol squat training, or just your lower body training. Like, this is a really interesting topic around being in lockdown or in isolation at the moment, because oftentimes people will train lower body in the gym with deadlifting, squatting, lunging, whatever it might be, using weights. And a pistol squat is a bodyweight exercise, and I challenge anybody who says that if doing 10 pistol squats back to back on both legs doesn't represent a strong set of legs. Of course, there is a role for using weights in lower body training. We have to create enough overload, but the pistol squat is a great exercise. And if you've got it in the locker, it shows that you've got mobility, stability, and strength all at the same time. So there are a number of different things, and particularly with the pistol squat, we're going to talk around mobility. And there's so many different ways that we can build mobility through the lower body. So we're going to look at a couple of those today, but it's not going to be a massively extensive list, but I'm going to give you so any questions about pistols before we started, just kind of give you a bit of an overview. People are signing in. A couple of people just saying, is it bad for your knees? Like, it's not bad for your knees, providing that you've got good range of movement and you've got the right stability. So you can get into a deep squat position. We would say here is fine. Okay, and you're going to bring you down a little bit. So I drop into position here, but we say, okay, that's not bad for my knees. So our pistol is just here. This knee angle has not changed between the two. So it's not bad for knees. It's just the most important thing is that we have good range of movement, and we have control through that range of movement. And that's where the mobility, stability, strength paradigm all kind of fits in and comes together. So if we're ready to get started, guys, I'm going to kick off. And yeah, we've got a little comment in there that said ankle mobility most important during pistol squats. Completely agree. There's a couple of things that we can do to kind of work around that, which I'm hopefully going to show you today. And as I said, one thing about this, guys, if you find that you get stuck at any point during this session and you need a little bit more help, in our virtual classroom, we've got a lower body foundations training program, which is a real corrective approach to improving mobility and stability in the lower body through squats and lunge patterns. So if you want to know some more mobility drills, you want to start to build some strength in different positions, create better range of movement and control, that's a good place to go and head out to have a look at that. All right, so I'm just going to get going on here. All right, so I'm going to bring you around a little bit, Instagram. Okay, so you guys are going to show you a couple of tools that you can start to play around with this. Let's get everyone set up and we are good to go. All right, so as I said, first thing, mobility. Let's just give you a bit of context of what it is that we're trying to achieve when we go into a pistol squat. So I'm going to struggle today with this. I'm going to need to go back a little bit for you guys. There we go. So I'm going to try and go from a single leg position. I'm going to take one leg out in front. Hands are going to go for a counterbalance, and I'm going to drop in to the bottom of my pistol with some control. I want to stop the foot from hitting the floor, hit the bottom position, and then I want to be able to stand back up. The key thing about some of this, I'll just show you one from the front, is what's happening with this knee position. I'm going to talk about a couple of ways in which we can make sure that that's nice and stable. So from the front, foot facing forward, hands go out in front, leg goes through. I'm going to sit in, control the stability around the knee, into a bottom position, and then stand back up and out. All right, so the first thing we're going to have a look at is a little bit of ankle mobilization. Now, I trust that some of you won't have a foam roller, but if you have got one, or you can get hold of one, it's a really useful tool in starting to be able to improve range of movement. Effectively, what's happening is we're going to decrease some of the tension that we find in the muscle. We find the trigger points. You can roll through and just find those little points, and we spend a bit of time working on those. You can use a hockey ball, tennis ball, a massage ball, anything like that, which is going to help you to just take some tension out of that muscle. So if you've got something like that, we won't do too long today because it'll eat up a lot of time in the session. But if you've got something, it's a really useful thing to do before you get stuck into your mobility movement training with a pistol squat. All right. So the first one, we're going to go through some stretching. Now, people are going to have some existing concepts or perceptions about stretching. We are going to use a static stretch today because what I want to do is start to increase some range of movement through the calf, and then we're going to put some activation in. Static stretching is not bad if it's part of a continuum of how we build up towards movement. So the first thing, you need a wall, and all we're going to do is effectively put the toe up against the wall so the heel is now raised. I want to try and improve dorsiflexion, my ability to get the knee over the toes. If I can do that, I can shift the center of mass over the base of support when I sit in. If my calf is super tight and I've got no range of movement through the ankle, what happens is I start dropping down, even in a normal squat, run out of range here, so the calf or the shin can't move any further, and I just end up going backwards. So I need to be able to get knees going forwards to be able to sit back and find that deep position for the pistol. All right, so you're going to take your foot, put it up against the wall in this kind of position. We're just going to lean through into it. And then what I want you guys to do is just take that position and just lean forwards up into it. And you're going to feel with the higher you put your toes, the more stretch you're going to get through your calf. I'm just going to hang out here for a minute. It takes a little while for the tension within the muscle to start to drop off a touch, but we're just going to move through. You can start to kind of feel just gentle stretch through that calf. Ease it into it. Don't try and tear the muscle from the bone. Neural tension soften down a touch as we start to find a little bit of range through that calf. And this is going to be a real kind of key point in our pistols. All right, you can then swap sides. So we'll do the other leg as well. So right foot for me is now going to go up and sit back a bit, get the toes as high as I feel like I want to get them. And then I can just lean through and drop in. If you haven't got a wall, you've got a step or something you want to do this against, you can just put your foot on the step and just drop down and put the heel down below it. Same position, same principles, just two different ways of getting a stretch. This one's nice because you can kind of lean into it a little bit and create a little bit more sort of activate or tension through that position to get some more range of movement in the calf at the back. So we're just going to hang out another 20 seconds or so, easing through. If you feel like the stretch drops off, you can just lean through a little bit further. Move that up a little touch. And then you can relax. All right. So a real simple calf stretch. You could go back onto both sets and just get a little bit more range through them. So we're going to get now into a little bit of a knee to wall exercise. So I'm going to show you just a real simple side on, and I'll show you against the wall. What this is useful for is starting to assess your range of movement through the ankle. If you have got, if you're starting to see improvements in your calf range of movement, you should start to see your knee to wall improve. So I'm going to bring in my chair. Imagine this is a straight wall, so I want you guys to be able to see what's going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to position my foot close to about sort of a few centimeters from the wall, and my job is to lean forwards and see if I can get my knee to touch the wall. All right, imagine this is going to be a straight line from here. We're going to wall, all working all the way up. I'm going to do it against the windows in a second. If I can keep my body nice and straight, I can lean forward, I can touch the wall. I've earned the right to be able to, let's see from there, there we go, to be able to move my foot back a little bit. And I'm going to try again. Can I touch the wall? Yeah. Can I go back a bit more? Can I touch the wall? Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to find a point where I'm probably kind of like at my end range. Can't quite touch the wall in that shape. So I'm just going to go back a centimeter, so the point where I can. And we're now going to put a set of 12 reps together. So I want you guys to feel like you start just pushing the range of movement each time as we go over, and you're pulling the knee forwards. Effectively, what I want you to think about doing in this movement is that you're pulling your toes upwards, but because the toe is fixed, we're going to find when we pull through, we're going to get the knee coming forwards. Don't lift the toes off the ground though. All right, so we'll go for a set of 10. If you're by the wall, you've got something you can lean against, whatever. Find your range. We'll go through 1. You can adjust it as you go through if you want. 2, 3. Keep playing around that position. You'll find your range. There's mine. 4, 5, 6. Just working that range to keep the heel on the ground. 7. Of that stand foot. 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 11, 12. Someone just said that they joined after watching Joe Wicks. This is a bit different to Joe Wicks, isn't it? I don't think he does need to walls. Maybe I should I should write to him and I say he should put it into his workout. 1, second leg now. 2, keep that heel down. 3, pull the shin forwards. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and you can just sit in there. And if you want to, with these positions again, you can spend a bit more time. If you're feeling like you've got pain or some pinching in the ankle, just adjust the foot position. And if you've got the opportunity to do it, just put a little mark next to your wall, put a piece of sellotape down as to remind you where you got to last time. And then even you can use it as a test retest. So you might come in, go, I'm going to do some low body today, test my range of movement. Right, that's where I'm at. Do my mobility work, some foam rolling, bit of stretching, come back, do the knees to wall. Okay, it's improved. So you've done something positive with your mobility preparation, your movement preparation for that session. All right. So again, you could put a couple of multiple sets together in that knee to wall position if you want to. Now we're going to bring this together in a deep squat pattern in a minute, because that's going to be the foundation, our bottom stage of our pistol squat. But the next thing I want to talk about is a rec fem stretch. Right, rectus femoris is a muscle that runs from the top of the hip here all the way down and connects through the patella. Extend the knee at the same time, right? So this muscle here, the rec fem, is pretty short, and it can often get quite tight when we're looking at doing our pistol squats. So we're going to try and mobilize it out a little bit. So to do that, what I want you guys to do is come into a lunge position. We're going to try and keep this nice and straight, right? So torso tall, hip directly on top of the knee. I don't really want you leaning forwards into this shape just yet. All right, so stay tall. And then if you want to hold onto the wall or you need something for support, you can do this. But I want you to just grab the back leg. From that position there, I want you to now feel that can you squeeze the bum, all right? And the position you're trying to make is like a scooping pattern. I'm trying to bring the pelvis up underneath me. And when I do that, if I put myself in the backside, should be super tight, rock solid. You don't want a saggy bum back here, all right? So hold through, legs on tight, pulled up. You can play with that range a little bit if it's difficult, let yourself go a bit lower. But I'm going to try and squeeze the bum and I pull the knee on. And what you should feel is a decent stretch down the hip flexors, all right, as you pull that through into the position. Keep squeezing and then relax. So we're now going to use a little PNF approach, which is a slightly different way of stretching, so a bit more active. So what you're going to do is grab the back leg and I want you to push your foot into your hand. So I'm like, let's go like 40% max, not too hard, just a little bit of activation of pushing your foot into your hand and hold it there for an isometric. And we're going to count down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And at that point, hold that, but squeeze the bum on and pull the foot towards the hip. All right, we're going to squeeze that through. We're going to hold that for 20 seconds. Squeezing that through, keep the bum on and keep pulling the hand up. That's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Keep squeezing. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more set on this side. So just let that leg go down a little bit. Now push the foot into the hand for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the foot to the heel, or to the, heel to the bum. Squeeze the bum on. I'm going to go 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Keep squeezing the bum on, pushing it forwards. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, swap over on legs. Same position, set yourself up, nice vertical shape. Grab the heel of your back leg. You practice, just feel that bum activation, just feel that hip turn on. And then we're going to start straight into the PNF this time. So 7 seconds of a push with the foot into the hand. So 7, 6, just nice and steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, pull the foot to the heel, squeeze the bum on, and then you're going to hang out there for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. I'll stop counting because it's probably annoying. We'll pick it back up in a sec. Keep squeezing that through. Hold that position. Bum's working hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round of this. Relax that stretch on the back a little bit. Kick the foot into the hand and hold down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the heel to the bum. Squeeze the hip on. Push. 20 seconds. Keep pressing that through, guys. Stay up nice and tall in the chest. 15 to go. Squeeze the bum. Feel that stretch. Don't try and tear anything off. Just like nice and comfortable. Breathe through it. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, good. So we've starting to create the foundations for a little bit of quality movement. Ankle range of movements working a little bit better. We've loosened off the hip flexors and our rectus femoris particularly, which is going to be a big player in our pistol squat movement. The next thing I want to do is get this guy activated. We need a little bit of glute stability. One thing in the in the knee, when we go into our pistol squat, is a lot of people are going to get this position. The knees are going to want to dive inwards, and you can see that now creates like a biomechanical kind of imbalance. I want the knee over the toes, in line with the hip, nice and stable through the lower and then through the press. So we're going to see you're going to lie up against, and we're just going to make like an arc position just to try and get the bum fired up. So I'm going to position myself here. Foot's going to go up against the wall. Where I want to be is about a hand span away from the wall. I'm going to get into this position, which is a little bit like babe station, so I'm told. We're going to hold the shape here, straight body line. My job then is I'm going to push the heel into the wall. I'm just going to squeeze that. And I push my heel backwards. I should feel my bum working. I don't want to arch through this shape. Keep nice and tight. And then from here, I'm going to lift and point my toes upwards. The key to this position, guys, is I don't want to roll my hips back to the floor or to the wall so it becomes a hip flexion movement. I've got to keep my hip true, straight, stacked up on top of each other, heel behind the body, toes up, and then lift. All right, you should feel that in the back of your hip back here, right? Gluteus medius is what we're training. So we're going to go through a set of 10. These take some time, but the effort to put these in is really important in creating that stability for your pistol. All right, ready? So heel against the wall, toe goes up. We're going to pull through for 1, then down slowly. Just slide it back in, reactivate, push in, lift, 2. Drop it in. Push back towards the wall, 3. Again, you should be feeling these in your bum. Go again, toes up, 4. We're just going to do 1 set to activate today, guys. But what you could do with these is 3 sets to really build some stability around the hip. All right, 4, 5. This is 6. Slide it back in. 7. Not easy, right? These look like nothing, but they're hard. 8. You're working at hip stability, which is so key to keep the knee and ankle stable. 9. Last one. Toes up, pull through. 10. Drop it back in. All right, switch sides. Got to do both. Same principle. My Instagram might lose you on this one. I'll go here. Right, so same thing, guys. Hips nice and stacked on top of each other. Don't roll towards the wall. Heel goes back. Push it in. Stay tight in the midsection. Toes up and lift as 1. And then back in. We're going to go for 10, 2. Keep squeezing, guys. Keep that hip true. If you feel like you're getting more hip flexor than glute, roll your hips forwards a little bit. Don't allow yourself to go back. 4. Push through. 5. 6. Keep pulling as high as you can with good control, guys. 7. 8. Looks like an 80s aerobics video, this, isn't it? 9. Rosemary commonly knew a little bit about what she was doing with these babies. All right, good. 10. That's our wall slides taken care of. Such a useful exercise. I've used those for years with performance athletes to help to stabilize the hips and keep the knees controlled. You've got to keep those look after them because it controls what's happening at the knee, and that is where the real kind of opportunity for stability is in the lower body. So next one, we're going to try and just get into some positions that look a little bit more like a pistol now. So you guys are going to go into a squat position or feet shoulder width apart. And what I want you to do is, can you get into a deep squat shape? Just a simple kind of position to start off with. If you find this difficult and you're kind of like stuck in a position here or your knees go inwards, again, have a look at our lower body foundations. Classrooms is designed to help you regain what is our most fundamental lower body movement, really. We should be able to get into a nice controlled deep squat position. If you guys are in shape here, I'm going to show you something which you can do in a minute if you can't, just as a little bit of a win to keep today moving. Can you then start to play around side to side? And ultimately, if you put your hands out in front, shift a little bit of weight over to one side, can I now transfer over and lean to a point where I can start to think about lifting a foot off the ground? And can I hold that bottom position of my pistol? All right, we're at end range, it's nice and stable because you're not really using too much strength. It's a mobility, stability type challenge. All right, so try one more on the side. If you find that difficult, we can use a little bit of an assistance. And it might be that we just use something to hold on to. So that in that deep squat position, if I feel like I'm falling backwards because the range of movement's a bit tight, I can use something which is just going to give me a little bit of support I can pull onto to feel that shape. It stops me from rocking backwards a little bit. Ultimately, what we want to do is make sure we've got a good range of movement so that we can do this unassisted, but the tools are there if we need them. All right. So how are we getting on? Quick check in with all that. Loads of time on the mobility, but you can have a look at some of the Babe Station. Yeah, no, I haven't looked at it either, just what I've heard on the... all right, cool. We'll come back and look. I can't see it, I'm squinting. Okay, so we've mobilized. We're getting into a little bit of we've got some range of movement. So our job now is to try and get into a little bit of strength work through range of movement. So we're going to talk pistol squats, single leg squats, because it's this top portion of the range of movement. Gets us in thinking about how we're going to move through some different shapes. All right, so single leg squat position. Can we start off by just balancing? All right, what's your balance like on a single leg? Can you maintain knee over toes or midfoot, hips in line and stacked? Take your foot off and kind of reach. All right, kind of balance around a bit. If we're feeling pretty good there, we can start thinking about trying to get into our squat shape. So hands are going to go on hips. I'm going to show you from the side to start off with. The first movement in a pistol squat needs to be backwards. All right, back and down. It can't be forwards over the toe because now I've got nowhere to go. So I've got to move a little bit more coordinated. So I drop and I stay tall and I'm going to sit in, hips are going to go back, and I'm going to go through to the range of movement that I feel I can control and then push back up. And when I mean control, the important thing you're going to find is as you go lower, you might find that this knee dives in. All right, you've got to try and keep that knee up. So if you can go like this far and then the knee drops, you're going to work through that top range. If you feel like you can go lower down and then the knee drops, you're going to work through that range. Ideally, we want to try and get to just above 90 with the knee straight over the toes and pull back through. All right. So let's have a go. We're just going to go 4 on each rep on each leg. I don't want to try to tire you out too much. So single leg stance, knee over toe, hands on hips, up nice and tall. Get midsection switched on. And we're going to sit back, go down, slowly controlled as low as you feel you can go. And then squeeze your bum, push your foot into the floor and drive the hips forwards. All right. Drop in for number 2, lower it down, squeeze and drive. Number 3, push back out. And then 4, last one, drive back through. If you haven't got single leg squats in your program, guys, and you're looking for some leg exercise work to do without doing full pistols, these are such a great exercise to put in, do so much for you. Lots of ticks in boxes. All right, second leg. So feet facing forward, knee over toe. Get your hands up on the hips. We're going to drop in, push through 1, control it down, 2, drop in, 3, last one, 4, way, and no, I lost it. A little bit of balance. All right, so we're starting to think about some strength movements and some activation in there as well. So let's get warmed up into our pistol shape. If you guys feel comfortable, you can get stuck into it. For those who need a little bit of help, I'm just going to show you with the rings how we can get into an assisted pistol. And you don't even need a ring for this one. You can do it by holding onto a door frame or something which is just going to help you to counterbalance a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take my ring. I'm going to set back a little bit. IG, I think you guys need to come with me a touch for this one. So we're set in. I'm going to just hold onto the ring, use it for a little bit of balance. I'm going to take which leg I want to do, which is going to be my right leg so you guys can see it. And using the ring just as much support as I need to help me get into that bottom position to make it a bit longer. Dropping in. And can I find that bottom shape? If I'm now finding that I can get in there and I'm feeling okay, but I haven't got the strength to get out, I can use the ring to help pull me up. As you build strength and get better at this, you're going to need to use the ring less. So I drop in, control it, and then can I only have like a couple of fingers on it when I push or pull myself back out. The downside about having some assistance, and you could do it for the same thing if you've got like a door to hold on to, go onto this one, so I can drop in, foot down, and I can use the door as a bit of assistance. The problem is when you've got the door or you've got some level of assistance, you kind of tend to rely on it a little bit. So we want to start to have that as a patterning exercise. It teaches you how to get into the shape. But we also want to be able to start to train it through a range of movement which we can control. So we've got both things going on. Assisted to get the movement pattern, but we need to build some strength at the same time. And one way that we can do that is to use a little bit of a heel raise. So by range of movement, I'm taking a little bit of load out of the hip as well. So when I drop forwards, I don't need as much ankle dorsiflexion or range of movement to be able to get into a bottom position. So I can set myself up, heel up on the plate, hands going to go out in front with a foot, and I can then control it, lower myself in, find that bottom shape, and drive back out. Okay, show you the side. Heel goes up on the plate, get stable, foot goes out, dropping in, feel like a comfortable bottom position, and then push back through. Ultimately, guys, with a pistol squat, it's a bit of a progression. You're going to have to start working through some different ranges of movement and start to build the strength together. But ultimately, it's a fairly straightforward movement if you've got good range of movement and stability in the lower body. So let me just spin you guys around quick. So I'm going to take a couple of questions without the sun glaring in my face. Just come with me quick. All right. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. We're going to move very quickly around. All right, cool. There we go. So how do we find that one, guys? It's pretty straightforward. As I said, sorry about that. Just can't see what I'm doing. There we go. So we've got, just to recap, prioritize mobility and stability in terms of building our pistol squats to begin with. We need to be able to get the range of movement and then be able to control through that range. If we haven't got good range of movement through the calf or the ankle, if we're super jacked up in the hips, we haven't really earned the right to go and play and do a pistol if we find that our just standard deep squat position is a bit of a tricky one, because this has to be the bottom shape. So if your deep squat is like here, you can't go any lower, you're gonna go and do some work on improving range of movement so you can hit that bottom shape. All right, that's your first point. If you can get into that bottom shape, we then start to think about, can we build some stability and strength through those ranges? Now, the wall slide is super important because it's going to help to stabilize the hip, and that's going to allow us to keep the knee tracking in a good direction. Biomechanically, that's good for force production, but it's also really good for injury prevention. The knee's diving around all over the place, really kind of like easy for it to get ground down, working the wrong muscles, things go out of whack. When you then go and try and run, we've trained the knee to kind of dive in all over the place. So prioritize getting that hip stability and that range of movement. And then it's about using the progressions, building strength through range. The single leg squat is so useful, and we should just put those in. It's a great exercise. You don't even need to work through the full range of movement for the pistol. But ultimately, by starting to train to a low range of movement, can you get down to sort of 90 degrees or just above for your single leg squat with good control? If you can do that, then you can start thinking probably about start using the ring for some assistance just to help you build the strength in that lower bottom position. The other thing you can do with that is actually stack up some boxes or a chair if you've got it, and you can sit down to the chair and then stand back up. If you've got something which you can stack, as you get stronger, you can take a layer out. So you're effectively sitting in a little bit lower, squeezing yourself back up, and that's going to help you to build that strength through range. That's what we're talking about, guys. In that deep pistol squat, you probably haven't built the strength in range through that shape if you don't normally move in it. So we need to just create an environment where we can start to do that. Just get stronger through ranges that we don't normally train. The assistance is a good way to do that. And also you can, if your mobility is a restricting factor, we can bypass that for a time by creating a heel raise. That shouldn't be a long-term solution. That should be something which we use whilst you're working on your ankle mobility, but allows us to continue with training our pistol squat progressions and building that strength and having a lower body workout effectively. We would do the same thing with an athlete in a barbell squat, for example. If they've got poor ankle range of movement, we like jack the heels up, or they're going to wear a set of lifting shoes. Give us that range. We need the strength, but I'm also got a corrective program running at the same time, which is going to help me to build and improve that ankle range of motion. So that is your whistle-stop tour for a pistol squat this morning, guys. I can take a couple of questions if you've got any. I hope that was useful. Let me just dive down here. Yeah, so using a book underneath my heels, it went well going down, but couldn't get up. So that's exactly it. So the book has helped you to get the range of movement to get down. Your job now is to start to use a little bit more strength progressions to train yourself to get out of that bottom shape. So you could not go quite as low. So drop down and then don't hit that bottom position, but then push yourself back up. Or you could do that thing, as I said before, find something like, I've got some sleepers here in the garden. So I could do my pistol squat, so one of those. Is sit through, I'm aiming to hit the pillar, and then I'm back out. But if I need it, I've got that assurance that I've got something behind me, and as I get better, I'm going to start to drop that that height of the sit position down for a box. So play around that, but ultimately you've just got to get stronger in that bottom range. Assistance and using some of those tools to train the strength as well will help. What about what should you work on first? Ankle mobility or hip? Both at the same time, but prioritize probably ankles for most people in terms of getting into this. But if you've got tight hips and tight ankles, the answer is you've got to do them both. All right. So stick them both in. Doesn't take a lot really, just need to do it consistently. Good stuff, guys. Just going to go keeping the leg out straight is a problem. Can't be bent at the knee. So when you can bend the knee, it's not a true kind of piston. What it probably means is either you got some tightness or weakness at end range in your rectus femoris, that stretch we did at the start, or hamstrings are tight. The other thing it can be is that if your core stabilizers are a little bit underactive, you might find that the hip flexors are now trying to create stability around the pelvis, so they tighten up. So when you do that, think about really squeezing your tummy button in tight. That's going to create some stability around the pelvis, and it might give you some more range. If that doesn't work, go back and have a look at, have I got tight hips and tight hamstrings? And if you have, think about, we're putting them into quite an extreme position. They probably just need some more focused mobility work. So I hope that answers that question. If I get pain in my knee, I need to work on hip mobility. Is that right? Yeah, like the knees gets kind of bullied a little bit by the ankle and the hip. So if you're getting pain in your knee, depending on where the pain is, it could be a number of different things, but often people get it around the side of the knee or on the patella just below in that tendon area. That's likely going to be tightness through the hip flexors, quads, IT band. So those are the things you're going to have a look at out there. Get some more range of movement working, move through some more shapes, and then you've got to go and build strength through that range as well. Don't just get mobile without getting strong, because you need both. Dan, glad it was helpful, mate. Thank you. My inner thigh prevents me from doing it straight. I always have to tilt away from the straight plane. Is that also correct? In terms of going sideways, do you mean? Is it tightness in the inner thigh, or just like find it difficult to get into the shape? There could be a couple of things going on there. How often would you suggest working on ankle and hip mobility? Daily. Do a little bit every day. It doesn't need to be super long, but just do a little bit. If I can pistol squat, okay, is a progression to try doing them without hands forwards, or is that just incorrect? Yeah. Shorten the levers. The hands are there for counterbalance, so bring them up onto the top. If you want to go harder than that, stick a weight vest on. But again, earn the right to progress to get to that point. Definitely. And then, yeah, try and barefoot as well. It's a nice little progression. VR street workout, good ton content. Thanks very much. Had no chance of doing a rep at the start, but I can do one rep on each side after your exercises. All right, Michelle, great win on that one. Hopefully you can build on that now. You understand the process you need to go through, and just breaking down these movements and make them pretty sort of like pretty simple. Hopefully you just got to go and do the work, guys. Put a little bit of time into the training programs, and you'll soon be finding yourself pistol squatting like a beast. And if you can, I challenge myself, 10 on each leg, 3 sets. Brutal, right? I actually don't do them because they're so hard, and I should do them more. But it's not something with the pistols, guys, that I put in my program daily, because yes, it's quite a lot of demand on the joints and stuff. So just again, use them as you want to. But a session a week on these is going to really keep your legs moving well and keep you nice and strong. James, good work, mate. Try that shorten lever. Hands up on the shoulders is a nice one. yeah, and then you go from there, you're into the weight vest, mate, or holding onto a kettlebell sometimes helps to build a little bit of progression in there as well. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm glad that was useful for you this morning. A bit of a whistle-stop tour, but I kind of feel like the content from these lives I'm doing is a little bit more like that, breaking it all down so you guys have got some stuff to go and work on. Hope you have a great day. Sun is shining here in the UK. I've got to get straight onto the call now. In fact, I'm 5 minutes late already. I'm going to sign off, guys. Have a wicked day. Take care. Signing off. See you later, YouTube.